Chapter 7. The next day was Saturday, which meant it was time for our weekly Crime Biters meeting. We met at our headquarters on the roof deck of the old abandoned boathouse just off of Nash's Swamp. No one ever went there except us. It was perfect. At exactly 13 minutes before 2 o'clock, Abby and I climbed the stairs to the roof. I was positive I'd be the first one there. I had a big announcement planned, and I wanted to mentally prepare. Imagine my surprise when I saw Daisy already sitting there reading a book. We hadn't said or texted a word to each other since she walked into Isaac's store the other day before. "Oh, hey," I said. She looked up at me but didn't smile. "Hey," she looked back down at her book. I took Abby's leash off and she went over to Daisy and nuzzled her. Daisy nuzzled her back. My heart melted, of course. "Where are the other guys?" Daisy asked, without taking her eyes off Abby. "I'm not sure. I think Erwin is coming from his cello lesson. Don't know where Baxter is." "Oh." I sat down in an old lounge chair on the other side from where Daisy was sitting. I thought she might ask me why I was sitting so far away from her, but she didn't. She read and I sat for what seemed like 2 hours, even though it was probably only 2 minutes. "How's Perkins?" I asked, after I couldn't take it anymore. Perkins was Daisy's cat. She was really cute, and even though she and Abby didn't get along at first, they were good friends now. Fact, relationships can be complicated between animals and between humans. "She's great," Daisy said. "As long as she's relaxing, looking out the window, or snoozing, she's a happy camper." "Oh, cool." Cats are really different from dogs. They are perfectly happy doing nothing and staying indoors all the time. I didn't quite understand why some people loved them so much, but I wasn't about to say that out loud. "Baxter and I are here," hollered Erwin from below. They huffed and puffed their way up the stairs, saw me and Daisy sitting on opposite sides of the roof, and stopped in their tracks. "What's going on?" Baxter asked. "Nothing," Daisy chirped cheerily. "We were just talking about how awesome pets are. They don't judge, they don't try to change you, and they just love you for who you are." Ouch. "I agree," I said, "and they don't make you feel bad for what you believe in either." "Whatever," Erwin said. "Do we have any Crime Biters business to discuss? I can't stay long. My mom is taking me to Sal's so we can figure out what kind of pizza we want at the party." "Wow, you'd think you were planning a mission to Mars or something," I said. "Hardly," Erwin responded. "This is way more important." Everyone laughed, which eased the tension a little bit. It seemed like as good a time as any to make my big announcement, so I stood up. "Well, actually, I have one important item on the agenda, and we might as well get straight to it." I paused for dramatic effect. "I have decided to step down as president of the Crime Biters, effective immediately." They all stared at me. "It's true," I said. "I've been president ever since we started the club, and I think it's time for someone else to take over. In fact, I know just the person. I nominate Daisy Flowers for president." Daisy looked at me like I had 3 hands. "Wait, what?" "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second," Erwin said. He started rubbing his hands together, which is something he does when he's nervous. "We need to talk about this. I mean, I think it's really nice that you want to let someone else be president. I do." "So what then?" I asked. "Well, it's just that—" Erwin paused for a second. "I guess, well, I would also like to be considered for president." Oh, I thought to myself, I hadn't thought of that. Erwin kept rubbing his hands. "I mean, I was the second person to join the club, really, and I've been your friend the longest." "I thought we all formed the club at the same time," I said. "I nominate Erwin," Daisy said. "He would be an awesome president." Erwin smiled like he'd just won the gazillion-dollar lottery. I looked at Baxter. "Do you want to be president too?" He shook his head about 10 times. "Absolutely not." "Okay then, we have 2 nominees for president." I hesitated, not sure what to say or do next. Daisy looked up at me. Why don't you want to be president anymore? I thought you were doing a good job." I'd been thinking about it since the night before when I wrote the letter to Elroy Evans. I'd been thinking about how Daisy had said this stuff about just seeing her as an object of fascination and not as an actual person, and how the best way to prove to them that I wasn't a little kid was to make a very mature, careful decision. But I didn't really want to go into any of that stuff, so instead, I said, "I just think it's time. That's all." "Okay then," said Baxter, who was always the most interested in getting on with things. "Like Jimmy said, we have 2 nominees, which means we have to have an election." I thought to myself for the second time in 2 minutes. "Good idea," I said. "All in favor of—" "Hold on," Baxter interrupted. "It needs to be a secret ballot, of course." Triple. "Jimmy, is everything okay?" Daisy asked. "You seem a little slow today." "Yeah, no, I'm fine. How do we do a secret ballot? There's only 4 of us." "You know what?" Erwin blurted. You know what? Fine. Fine. I think Daisy being president is a good idea. I support Daisy too. All in favor of Daisy say aye. Huh? Baxter asked. Why would we say aye? I, Erwin was losing his patience. It's pronounced I, but it's spelled AYE, as in yes. I never heard that before, muttered Baxter, but, I? I raised my hand. I too. Erwin rolled his eyes. Not his eyes. You don't say it like that. You just say, I. Then he raised his hand. The ayes have it. Congratulations. Daisy, you're the new president of the Crime Biters. Baxter, Erwin, and I clapped. Abby looked up at us sleepily, gave one thump of her tail, then went back to sleep. Speech, proclaimed Baxter. Speech. Daisy was blushing a little, but she was smiling from ear to ear. I don't know what to say, you guys. This is a huge honor and a big responsibility. I think Jimmy has done an amazing job leading the club so far, and I promise to continue his fine work and make you all proud. Everyone clapped again, and she walked over to Erwin. And as my first act as president, I would like to name Erwin Wonk as my vice president. It was Erwin's turn to grin widely. Baxter clapped and hooted. Aye, he hollered. Aye, aye. I froze. Daisy squinted at me. Jimmy? I wasn't sure what to say. This wasn't part of the plan. The plan was to make Daisy president so she would realize I was a thoughtful, mature person and not be mad at me anymore. It wasn't to put Daisy and Erwin in charge of everything and leave me out in the cold. But there wasn't a dang thing I could do about it at this point. Fact. Sometimes when you're feeling sorry for yourself, you do things for the wrong reasons. Another fact. Once you do those things, it can be very difficult to undo them. Oh, right. I for sure, I said. Congratulations to you both. Daisy gave me a hug right then and there. Aw, thanks, Jimmy. This is a really sweet thing you did, and I won't ever forget it. I may have glowed with happiness for a minute there, but I can't quite remember because it was overshadowed by what happened next. I want to bring something up, Daisy said. It seems, and I don't want to act all like, oh, now I'm president, so I want to change everything, but I think we should think about changing where we meet. My ears started to get hot. Huh? I said, because it was the only thing I could think of. Daisy made a wide sweeping gesture with her hands. It's just that, well, if you want to know the truth, I've always thought this old boathouse was kind of gross. It's like really dirty and disgusting, and everything is broken. I think our club deserves a better clubhouse. That's all. Erwin looked like he wasn't sure what to do, since he loved the boathouse, but had just been named the new vice president by the new president, who apparently hated the boathouse. Wait, really? Baxter asked, which was pretty polite of him, if you ask me. I was a lot less polite. Are you serious? This is the greatest clubhouse ever, and it's all ours. Nobody even thinks about this place anymore. It's like our secret hideout. I pointed at Abby, who was snoozing on her back. Plus, Abby loves running around here, exploring the woods and the swamp and everything. More like she used to, Erwin mumbled. Now she pretty much just naps all the time. Daisy frowned. Geez, Jimmy, I didn't realize you felt so strongly. And I agree that it's important to keep our pets happy. She twirled her hair nervously. That's actually one of the reasons I wanted to move the headquarters. I thought maybe we could try my house, at least for a little while. That way, Perkins could attend the meetings, since she is the other animal member of the Crime Biters. I stared at her in disbelief. Her house? Seriously? It was true. Her cat Perkins was a member of the club, but I think the rest of us all assumed that was pretty much, how should I put it, honorary? Whatever, I sat down in a huff. I don't this one. I vote we keep our headquarters here. So that's one nay, Daisy said. All the rest of us, if you're in favor of having the next meeting at my house, just to see how it feels, where ice cream sandwiches and lemonade will be served, please raise your hand and say aye. I turned toward the marshy swamp and stared off into the distance so I wouldn't have to watch my friends betray me, because I knew that's exactly what they were going to do. I heard Baxter say. That didn't really surprise me because he never really liked the boathouse all that much. It was hard to blame him, considering his dad fell through the roof here and broke his back. Fact. Read all about Mr. Bradford's boathouse mishap and other crazy adventures in Crime Biters. My dog is better than your dog. Act now and you'll win a free toaster. Not really. What about you, Erwin? Erwin, Daisy asked. There was a pause. Like I said, Erwin loved the boathouse. He thought it was as cool as I did, because we used to come here all the time by ourselves and have a blast. It was our private clubhouse way before the Crime Biters even existed. I turned around and snuck a glance at Erwin. He saw me and quickly looked away. Will the lemonade be homemade? I heard him ask. I knew it was over right then and there. Oh, yes, Daisy exclaimed. My mom makes the best lemonade ever. Okay then, Erwin said nervously. Daisy clapped her hands. Yay! I think this will be great. Then she turned to me and added, but afterward, if we decide we prefer the boathouse, then we can always come back here. Fair enough? I wanted to say okay. I really did. I wanted to be sensible and respect the process and all that stuff. But for some reason, I just couldn't. This all started because I wanted to do something nice for Daisy. And then the next thing I knew, my club was being taken away from me, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. So I didn't say okay. Instead, I said, I think this stinks. I know, not very presidential of me, right? Not even very ex-presidential. Daisy's eyes suddenly turned cold. I'm sorry you feel that way, she said. I really am. But we voted, and the vote stands. Fine, I said. Is the meeting over? Because I have to go. I turned to leave, but something stopped me. Or should I say, someone stopped me. And it was the largest person I'd ever seen.